Okay, the Dogs are opening up as an 11.5 point favorite over top 10 Ole Miss. That's that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. When you look at on Saturday, Ole Miss, excuse me, Ole Miss was a 3 point favorite over Texas A&M. That's exactly what they won by. I mean, they survived Texas A&M. They survived LSU. They could not sort of handle Alabama. I think that was on the road. So, and then what I was going to say before I started talking about Ole Miss was um, LSU goes to Alabama. They're only a 3 point dog, and for me, um, I don't know. So being that high of a favorite, it doesn't. None of this means that you can't lose, but for someone who follows college football closely, it's a metric. It's something that people make a living on, people are entertained by, and I do think it matters for us. If you're playing the game, it's completely irrelevant. There's so much that's irrelevant if you're playing the game, but everybody doesn't go out there and play the game, right? I mean, the coaches aren't playing the game; they're just calling it, which is I'm sure stressful enough. Don't get me wrong; just calling is probably the wrong way to put it. Make sure you're just signing up for our newsletter. The link is right down below. You're going to miss out on a lot of stuff if you're not signing up for our newsletter. I'm just going to tell you that right now. There's a lot of stuff we don't put on our visual media that you're going to miss out on in written form. Leggy's thoughts, final feelings, reporting from Butts Mirror, which is where Georgia practices. So all that stuff, you're going to miss out on that. So the link is right down below. I'm hanging out in my EcoPoly chair as usual. Very comfortable in it. And it remains to be seen how comfortable Georgia will be on Saturday. My early take on this is, that Georgia will probably cover that line. I'm not comfortable with the way that Ole Miss is playing defense. Um, you know, Going into the Missouri game, if again, the great part about Kirby is that he said, "My job last night." He says, "My job is to win games, not worrying about lines, not trying to cover lines." Yeah, I get that, but he's right. My worry about that, I would like the traffic to be gone by the time we leave the stadium, and that was not the case. So I am team blowout. I'm sure Kirby would be team blowout if you could just snap your fingers. That's just not how it works. But with this Ole Miss game, you know, there's something about Georgia and Sanford. The momentum really builds, and you can feel it when they're about to end the game. They almost ended that game going into the fourth quarter last night, and that brings me to my point about what Ole Miss is getting themselves into here, which is they're really gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to play the best game they've played this season to be within a score to play to win it next Saturday. I don't. I just the quarterback run was a problem for Georgia. The edge running was a problem for Georgia on Saturday against Missouri. That's not necessarily what Ole Miss does as it relates to the quarterback, but they do have a very good run game. But it's something Georgia's going to have to deal with. I mean, I asked Nazir Stackhouse after the game, after all the congratulatory questions. I mean, Georgia got run on yesterday, 151 yards. Like that's not them. And Missouri, Missouri is going to try to physical up and do it, and they did for the most part. I mean, I thought of, you know, Ole Miss may be a better team than Missouri. I don't know that, to be honest with you. I would that game, it would depend on where they play it for me, but um, the game is in Athens, and if it were in Oxford, I think you'd have a little bit more of a problem. Georgia would probably be like an 8 point favorite or something like that. They'd still be heavily favored to win the game, but I think for me, when you watch Ole Miss, the defense is really problematic. I mean, Max Johnson is the backup at Texas A&M for a reason. Now he's done a great job in his role over there, but he's not a playmaking quarterback. He is a guy that needs protection. He's not going to really hurt you with his feet. And A&M just hung in there the whole day. And A&M's good too. I mean, this league is just full of just really. This is not the ACC. This is not the Big 12. So you're going to have to go up against guys, but you can feel the momentum at Georgia, and that is a really dangerous thing. You can feel it when you go on the road at Neyland, at South Carolina to some degree in at Commonwealth Stadium, but in Athens, I think the problem are the players on the field. Like they will stomp you out. So that's what I would be worried about if I were Ole Miss. I don't know if Jackson Dart. I'm assuming he is completely healthy, but he did take a pretty nasty shot in that Texas A&M game yesterday. But we're just going to see. Let me talk about EcoPod just for a second. Our friends, and I'm lounging in this chair. It's a 20-year warranty. It's made completely of recycled plastics, made in the heart of Georgia. It's extremely comfortable. I've discussed this in the past. Please make sure you're taking advantage of it. This is a black rocker. They can do this, let me tell you, in any slew of colors. However, seeing that this is a Georgia audience, if you have a downstairs, if you have kids, if you have a downstairs, this is great. I'm not saying it's indestructible, but it's very well made furniture. Okay. And you can have it out. I use it outside, but you can have it inside too, with cushions and stuff. You can have black cushions with red. We're going to show you a lot this week about what they can do, but take advantage of it, man. Christmas right around the corner. Get your orders in now. The link is down below, and it's 15% off and free shipping. And these are well made, so take advantage of the free shipping. Sometimes the orders are 200-300 pounds if you're getting sets. But anyways, this is kind of the ultimate Christmas gift this holiday season. Um, Ole Miss can still win the SEC West. Tennessee, Missouri, I think they can all still win the East. Alabama can still win the West, and Ole Miss and Alabama. But you're going to need a collapse from Alabama and Georgia for that to happen, and I'm just not sure it will happen. Hey, if you pick up Double Dogs today, you're going to get our 2024 recruiting guide included for free. This is a limited run. Act now. The link is down below, but act now. Okay. I, I, I Ole Miss is going to have to play their best game, and honestly, a lot of people have been doing that against Georgia this year. I mean, South Carolina, Auburn, I would argue Missouri, they really have played well. The flip side of that is Georgia can do to you what it's done to Florida, Kentucky, UAB, Tennessee Martin, Ball State. In other words, of their 9 wins, 5 of them have been complete and utter just thrashings. A couple of them, South Carolina, or really Vanderbilt, South Carolina, they were, and Missouri, honestly, those 3, although Vanderbilt less so, those 3 were sort of solid beatings. And then, of course, the win over Auburn was, a one-score win. The only one-score win this season. Georgia's only had 2 wins under double digits. So you understand why it's an 11.5 point line. I don't know. Maybe it'll dip down to 10, but people are going to jump on that now. I mean, people are going to jump on that now, and you cannot say from one week to the next, oh well, Ole Miss didn't play well at home against Texas A&M, so they will not play well on the road at Georgia. That's not how it works. I mean, it's what is it that day, and that's it. So we'll just see now. Jamon Dumas-Johnson is not going to play in this game. I don't know if he's going to play anytime soon. When will Brock Bowers return? When will Amarius Mims return? What's it gonna be like when Georgia is playing with Mims, uh, Brock Bowers, and Lab McConkey all on the field at the same time? I do not think that's happened this season. Those 3, if you mix paint and if you got to have the all of the correct hues and color palettes or whatever the term is to make the paint you want. Well, Mike Boba's not been working with a full can of paint the entire year. So is he going to adjust when Bowers comes back? I mean, Oscar Delp's not had a bad run, but Bowers can change games. You might not be able to notice it But Amaris Mims, in theory, could change games too. So we know what Lad McConkey can do. So two of those guys are skill guys. Only one of them's playing. And what's it like when you have a full deck of cards? What's it going to be like when you're replacing Jamon Dumas Johnson? Xavier Sori was not out there on Saturday because of personal reasons. Now, is that a internal matter? Typically, Kirby says, "Oh, it's an internal matter." That's a little more serious than a personal matter. So I don't know why you wouldn't expect him back out there, but we'll just have to see. Because there's a reason Jamon was out there playing, and if he, you know, can't go, this is about the time a year ago that Georgia lost Nolan Smith. So Nolan probably a higher level prospect than Jamon Dumas Johnson, but both important starters on a really good defense. That hurts. But again, that's why you recruit. That's why you go out and get guys. And that's probably why Georgia's an 11.5 point favorite. Um, will they do to Ole Miss what they've done to Kentucky and Florida and everybody else that they blitzed, or will they be in a real fight like they were against Auburn, South Carolina, and of course yesterday against Mississippi? Excuse me, against Missouri. I don't know. Georgia is a better team. They get to play at home. It will turn into a night game after the half, or it will just be a night game. I don't know why CBS hasn't released that they're going to broadcast this game, because it would be bizarre to me that they would take any other game. I mean, there's no other games. You're not going to put Tennessee, Missouri at 3:30 over Georgia, Ole Miss, top 10. So I don't know what the holdup is, but whatever. So um, let's just see what happens. I mean, I like Georgia against this 11.5. Now, if it goes to like 13, I'm a little bit jumpier there. So anyway, but the Dogs, an 11.5 point favorite at the start here against the Ole Miss Rebels.